next step will be to put our Eave flashing on. Now there are two types of Eave flashing. There's the extended Eave, which is what I'm going to use, and the standard Eave. This is a 1.5 inch extended Eave. This Eave flashing, it's important that it fits the roof correctly, that it's at the correct angle. You can see that this extended Eave hangs over 1 inch. So in measuring this roof, when I'm measuring for panels, I'll just pick any random place on this roof right here, I'll mark it, and I'm going to measure from the point where these two planes cross, here to here, it's 29.5 inches. If this is a standard Eave, which is basically going to, the metal is just going to be on like this with an offset cleat in here, what I'll have 29.5 inches, and I will add 1 extra inch for the hem. We're going to hem all these panels on this image project here. So what I'm going to, if I want that panel to end up here, I'm going to have a 30.5 inch panel. If I'm using this extended Eave flashing, I have to add 2.5 inches. So I measured to this point, put my extended Eave flashing on. I'll have to add this 1.5 inch here and the 1 inch return. So if I have a panel measurement of 29.5 inches, I'll add 2.5 inches and order a finished panel that is 32 inches long. 26 inches, plus I'll have a tab. I'll have a tab on the inside and then a tab on the outside. So 28.5 inches is what I'm going to measure and cut this panel, or this flashing. I recommend using a combination square for many reasons. You'll see me using this blade for hemming panels. Also, this slides easily, and it helps you cut in cutting miters on metal. So I'll come out to my mark. I'll add 1 inch. Put my 1 inch tab here. With this side, this hem, this drip edge, I always want my points to miter together, to come together, so that the drip edge, or my rake edge that does have the same drip edge, I want this point to meet this point coming out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle in that drip, and then I'll just cut my notches out here. At this point, to turn this tab, I'll use a pair of hand folders. I'm just going to put it right on that hem, right on my line, and turn it over to a 90-degree angle. On this side, since this is an inside miter, I'm going to cut my 45-degree angle to the inside here. Cut this tab. So I will go from my straight line I'll make a small cut in here. Again, take my hand folds right on the line, turn it into a 90. So it's always important on any of your flashings, you always want to leave tabs. Tabs are going to allow you to connect these with rivets or any other type of fastener that you may be installing. So that would be it, that would be finished there. What's important when this is installed is that this stays at a 90-degree angle, that it is the same angle as the fascia, and that you have enough metal coming up here to secure into the substrate. I have these pieces cut. I'm going to install them as we work around. We've got the outside miter, inside miter. Again, I'm going to do the finish on the inside miter. On my finished cut, there are no tabs. It's just a straight cut. And when these are installed together, they'll slide right up into each other. It'll close off that miter for me. Make sure that's in all the way. I'll check my angle here, make sure that's correct. Install screw. I purposely cut this last section into two pieces. I've cut this piece of Eave flashing again with the 1-inch tab. Always, again, as I said, important to add a 1-inch tab whenever you may have another piece of flashing as a connector. I've got the 2-inch telescope notches in this piece of flashing. Place it on the roof. Again, it's very important that the angles are correct. Screw in, snug up your screws. My next piece of flashing is then measured from that notch out to the end. And this is the finished cut. I already have the tab on this piece. So my cut here is a finished piece set at a 45-degree angle, 1 inch out on the miter. If this bottom tab is not open, I'll take a screwdriver and open that up, and I'll slide these together. Again, minimum 12 inches on center on the screws. I recommend putting them closer together. Now I'll come back after the fact and put one rivet into this face so that I can make sure my miters are nice and tight together. Once I have my flashings connected, what I want to do is close this up as nicely as possible. Again, making sure that I'm connecting my miter points. I'm going to take a number 30 or 1/8 inch drill bit, and I'll go right through that 1-inch tab that I left. I'll take a pop rivet, install. It's important you have the pop rivet completely seated before you start squeezing, and also that it's flat. 2 squeezes, pop rivets in, nice closed miter. The drip edges come together nicely.